What if the person living quietly next door was hiding a darkness so cold, so calculated, it haunted the streets of Paris for over a year? Between 1996 and 1997, the eastern part of Paris was gripped by a chilling nightmare. A predator who struck without weapons, without a trace, leaving behind victims whose lives were cut short by nothing but his bare hands. This is the story of Mamadou Traoré, a man whose silence was as deadly as his grip. If you've ever felt powerless or underestimated, if you've ever longed for justice when it seemed impossible, hit that subscribe button now. Like this video and comment below if you believe justice should always find its way. Because today, we unravel the tale of a killer who thought he could vanish in the shadows, and the relentless pursuit that brought him to justice. Let's dive in. The first victim was discovered on a cold spring day, May 11th, 1996. A young woman lay lifeless in her Parisian apartment, the telltale marks around her neck revealing a strangulation with no weapon, only the brutal strength of human hands. There was no sign of forced entry, no theft, no motive to grasp. It was a puzzle that would soon repeat itself with a terrifying consistency. Over the following year, at least 6 women, strangers to each other, were found dead across Paris and its outskirts, all sharing the same grim fate. Each time, the killer struck swiftly and silently, leaving the crime scene as undisturbed as if the nightmare itself had passed without a trace. The police were left with a haunting question. Who was this invisible predator who needed no weapons, no tools? Only his hands to snuff out life? The investigation stumbled at every turn. Victims had no apparent connections. Locations varied, eliminating the possibility of a predictable pattern. The only thread linking these atrocities was the killer's chilling modus operandi. He attacked unexpectedly, using raw strength to strangle, overwhelming his victims in moments of silent terror. The psychological profile painted a disturbing portrait. The man behind these crimes was likely quiet, unassuming, the kind of person you'd never suspect. But beneath that exterior lay a well of violence, a simmering rage waiting for release. He was methodical, calculated, yet dangerously impulsive in his need to dominate and destroy. Mamadou Traoré's origins trace back to 1973 in Mali, immigrating to France. He grew up in a tough suburban environment where hardship bred resilience and sometimes darkness. From a young age, Mamadou exhibited an unsettling fixation on control, especially over women. He was known to be violent and unpredictable, traits that would later escalate with tragic consequences. Repeated psychiatric hospitalizations marked his youth, but rather than rehabilitation, they seemed to deepen his volatility. Released time and again, Mamadou's presence was a ticking time bomb, a man grappling with his demons, increasingly detached from the boundaries of society. Then came the turning point. In 1997, Mamadou's calculated silence cracked. A woman, in a desperate fight for her life, escaped his clutches and gave a vivid description that broke the killer's veil of invisibility. Police zeroed in on Mamadou Traoré. DNA evidence linked him to multiple crime scenes, cementing the truth that the terror had a name. Confronted with overwhelming proof, Mamadou first offered partial confessions but quickly retracted. His demeanor was chillingly detached. A man fully aware of his actions, who wielded his cold intellect as deftly as his hands once ended lives. Psychological evaluations revealed a mind not clouded by insanity, but steeled by cold calculation. The trial in 2000 was somber and tense. Mamadou Traoré stood silent, staring down jurors with an emotionless gaze that sent chills through the courtroom. No remorse, no explanation, just the stark reality of a man condemned for 6 murders, sentenced to life imprisonment with 22 years before any possibility of parole. But what drove Mamadou? Beyond the headlines and courtroom drama lies a portrait of human failings. A young man shaped by hardship, anger, and a thirst for control twisted into monstrous violence. His victims, women robbed of their futures, became symbols of the rage he could no longer contain. This story forces us to confront uncomfortable truths. How someone so unassuming can mask a profound darkness, how power and violence can intertwine beneath the surface of ordinary life, and how justice, though delayed, can pierce even the deepest shadows. In the end, Mamadou Traoré is remembered not just as a killer, but as a stark reminder of the silent threats lurking behind everyday facades, and the relentless pursuit of truth by those who refuse to let darkness win. If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the darkest corners of human nature. Share your thoughts below. What's the most unforgettable justice story you've ever heard? And remember, sometimes the quietest shadows hold the loudest secrets. Thanks for watching.